Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges if it was anywhere else.
Gene Deal has exposed 5 major celebrities for their ties to Diddy. Among them are Kanye, Jay-Z, and Usher. Many people are wondering why 50 Cent took these revelations out of the documentary in the first place, because they are so significant. We will go by the celebrities and their alleged ties to Diddy one by one. The first celeb that Gene brought up in his latest interview was none other than Usher, talking about how he saw things at a young age that he shouldn't have been around. That phrase alone says a lot to Gone.
Probably a lot of celebrities that saw it. There's probably a lot of stuff. Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it.
It suggests Usher was exposed to situations that weren't appropriate for someone his age, especially in those environments. In addition, Gene Deal revealed a shocking fact about Usher and Diddy's relationship. According to these allegations, Usher ended himself in the hospital as a result of an
certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know I know.
Gene Deal said Usher himself has hinted at this before, even if he never went into full detail. Gene wonders why Usher would thereafter support or commend someone who allegedly mistreated him when he was younger.
Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right.
Gene then recalled a specific memory from that time period to explain why this issue matters so much to him. He said he personally witnessed behavior that made it clear the environment around Diddy was not appropriate, especially for young artists who were still learning and trying to fit in. In fact, one major thing the documentary chose to censor and not talk about was Diddy doing something so horrific to Usher that it sent him to the...
About some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing some. They may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, "Yo, I don't F with that dude." And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, "Yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that." You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened.
He said this shows that certain things were happening and some people were aware of it. But in the industry, staying quiet is common. Gene Deal then talked about what he personally witnessed when it came to Diddy and Jamie Foxx. And he made it clear he could only speak on what he saw with his own eyes. He said he first met Jamie Foxx on a tour bus during a trip he barely remembers now. At the time, the vibe seemed friendly, but nothing about it felt like a deep relationship. But then he found out Jamie and Diddy were doing something truly horrific.
And it was a tour bus, and Puff was in the back, and there was a lot of girls in the front, and Jamie was just real touchy-feely, but Puff didn't come out the back. I don't know if Puff came out the back of the tour bus. You understand? And Jamie went back there for a minute or so, then he just came out and he was all touchy-feely with the girls. And I'm looking at this dude like, wow, this dude kind of like touchy-feely with these girls, and he don't even know them. They know him because he's Jamie Foxx, but he didn't know them. So I don't really know their real relationship or how close they was. I didn't meet Jamie Foxx and really have a conversation with him until I would.
What makes that entire statement worse is that Jamie Foxx has long been known to love partying with Diddy and participating in his freak-offs. In fact, he once talked about teaching Diddy how to party on a budget. Take a look. Why would Puffy be with the FBI? When we consider it in retrospect, Jamie's revelation is actually pretty intriguing. Is it possible that Diddy was an FBI asset at the time? Tell us in the comments, please. J. Rules was the second famous person Gene revealed to have been excluded in the documentary. According to Gene, their tale began in Atlanta. While traveling, he and Diddy stopped at a specialist shop. It seems that he hadn't been in a situation like that with Diddy before. And
time I ever went to an exotic bookstore, with Puff, I didn't know he even did that. But we was in Atlanta. So when we went to the door, they gave him a brown paper bag. So I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in a brown paper bag. So then, I was behind him and no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So there's one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like so I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the things, butt plugs. I said, hey yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this motherfucker this mofo is putting in his bag, because I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. So he gave him a wad of 100 and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what was in the bag. Bad and talking crazy about Jay-Z and how Ja was talking about if it wasn't for him, that Jay wouldn't be the artist he was. He got him started. He wrote certain things and stuff like that to put him out there. Cause back in the day, nobody was even effing with Jay like that. So, but Puff was he was adamant about Ja going at Jay.
Did he want to start a war with Jay-Z? The question is fascinating. They were staying in a spacious suite at the hotel, though when they got there, they were hanging out, eating, and chatting. Later, Diddy entered a room with Ja Rule and other women. Diddy gave Gene one clear command before entering. No one else should be allowed in that.
A girlfriend, they went to the room. I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't give a shit. But Puff told me, Gene, do not let nobody come in this room. Don't let nobody come in this room. So hour or so went by, whatever like that. Time went by. The doorbell rang, and it was this dude at the door saying that he was Ja's cousin. And I was like, he said, "I'm here for Ja Rule." I said, "Who you?" He said, "I'm his cousin," and everything like that. I said, "But yo, he busy right now." I'm telling the dude that he's busy. You know, the dude is talking about, "Yo, but I want to talk to him." I said, "Yo, bro, they don't want to be bothered." You know, I'm trying to, you know, tell this kid, "Yo, they don't want to be bothered, bro." You know what I'm saying? He said, "Yo, but that's my cousin." You know what I'm saying? I said, "Well, listen here, bro. They're in a room. They don't want to be bothered." You know, and you could see that there's only one room going back that way when you come to the room. You can see it's only one room. So then it's a piano, it's a couch, it's a room right there. And he told me he was going through the room. I said, "Yo, bro, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the breath out of my body before you go in that room." You understand? Next thing you know, I grabbed him and we started. It wasn't no wrestling thing like that because he couldn't handle it at the time. He could front and tell his friends because he didn't hit me up on Instagram. He could tell his friends all he want to, but that if Puff and Ja tell you the story, that was upside the piano. You understand? So now, Ja and Puff run out. They butt the naked, bruh, and they was grabbing towels. You understand? They was grabbing towels, and then Puff was like, "Yo, Gene. What's going on?" Ja was like, "Yo," he said, "That's my cousin." I was like, "Yo, bruh." He tried to get in the room and I wasn't letting him get in the room, bruh. And then Puff looked at Ja like this, you know, what that looked like, he said. And then Ja said, "You don't want to be up in that room because there was a whole lot of freaking shit going on."
Gene also mentioned Diddy's reputation for manipulating people's behavior. Gene thinks Diddy was attempting to steer Ja in a particular professional route that evening. Will Ja Rule discuss what Diddy did to him in the future? It's still to be seen. Jay-Z was the next well-known person on Gene Deal's hit list, despite public assertions to the contrary. Gene gave an explanation for his belief that Jay-Z and Diddy were closer than most people would like to acknowledge. Gene claimed that business, not friendship, was what bound them together. He asserted that their shared objective was to prevent East.
And Puff was given an assignment, and that was to destroy East Coast rap. And what I mean by that, and I know people gonna like, "Yo, Gene is out of his mind" and everything like that. Check this out, brother. Is that New York rappers was getting 80 to 100, 800 to 1.2 million, or some larger than that, and sign with labels back then. And they was getting a lot of money to make albums and records. When they had guys down south that these labels was paying $250,000, $300,000 on record deals, and these guys was bringing back platinum albums and everything like that. So what they had to do was they had to keep New York rappers down. That's one reason, other than the Irv Gotti that 50 was going through and the poison they was putting in about 50, he had to go elsewhere to California or with Jay and not with Dre and Eminem to get a deal. They did not want East Coast rappers to get big. They were suppressing all new artists that was coming out of New York. Jay and Diddy was doing that. That's why when I heard your story, because I knew this for a long time, but when I heard Dame Dash that Jay wouldn't sign off on nothing, Jay wouldn't do this and Jay would that, because he couldn't let a Cameron blow up. He couldn't let an East Coast rapper like Beanie Siegel blow up. Because him and Diddy was giving that deal, we gotta keep these East Coast rappers down. Because down south rappers, cash money.
Because of that, Gene believes
the industry had a problem. labels couldn't keep paying New York artists huge advances when Southern artists were making more money with smaller budgets. So instead of fixing the system, Gene claims they chose to hold New York artists back. Gene said this situation is one reason 50 Cent struggled early on. Between label politics and negative rumors being spread about him, 50 had to leave New York to get a real opportunity. This is how he ended up connecting with individuals from outside the East Coast rather than rising through his own region. That's why he hates both.
Destroy the East Coast rap. And then along came a somebody that was about to bring East Coast rap back. And there's nothing they could do about it. And this kid was finna put East Coast on the map, just like Big did. And this is after 50. And that was Papa Smoke. Pop Smoke. That was Pop Smoke. Let me just tell you something, man. 2 weeks before Pop Smoke died, K Slay, who heard this from the industry, that no that happens in the industry, set Pop Smoke and his people down and gave them a jewel. He said, y'all gonna have to protect him with his life, with y'all life. Y'all gonna have to protect him with y'all life. Cause he know Pop Smoke was about to bring rap back to the East Coast. And what happened? Pop Smoke ended up dead. Now I ain't trying to say that's some kind of conspiracy and maybe some other shit was going on or this, that, and the third. But brother, he had that conversation with K Slay 2 weeks before he was murdered. They didn't want rap to be back on the East Coast.
And what took place? Pop Smoke passed away. Now, I'm not attempting to suggest that there was a conspiracy of some sort. Perhaps there was another event, or this, that, and the third. But 2 weeks before his death, brother, he had that talk with K, Slave. Rap returning to the East Coast was something they opposed. The industry never wanted East Coast rap to fully come back, Gene said. And he believed that something always
So close that they had matching white girls together. Cause when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, so I gotta go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pockets 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I ain't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that I was gonna knock out. And then we was at the, it was me, him, Ashley Kushner, Puff and them. We was all at the next game together. And he didn't even remember none of it. And I don't expect him to remember, but I remembered. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, he said, that Gene a knock a out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a tear ass up. And I said to himself, I said, yo, no Diddy. Pause, whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. But he said to me, to Laura. But that's how these guys are, man.
They're according to Gene, a lot of people in the profession live in a bubble because they are living on a separate plane than everyone else. They instigate situations, stir things up, and then move on. He claims that this way of thinking was common in the past, and would eventually catch up to them. And now for Kanye West, who is arguably the most well-known of all. Gene has now revealed how Kanye was publicly attacking Diddy before to his imprisonment, calling him out and making disparaging remarks about him in interviews. Suddenly, Kanye is back around him, even donning outfits from the past that demonstrated public support. According to Gene, this is how the business occasionally operates, with people switching sides when it suits them. Perhaps Kanye fears he will be the next. Gene then goes on to tell Jane's account of a trip to Las Vegas. She claimed that after receiving an invitation from Kanye and his spouse, the group went out to dinner and performances, and what transpired next was horrible. Gene was particularly struck by the time Kanye is physically present to support Diddy the day after his name or description appears in court. That seemed calculated to Gene. Relationships deteriorated over time as everyone grew wealthier and more powerful, and Kanye started snapping at those he thought had betrayed him. Kanye's court appearance earlier this year appears to have been more for show than for substance. Given Kanye's prior contentious remarks, you have to question if Diddy benefits in any way from having him there. Why, in your opinion, did 50 Cent decide not to discuss these celebrities? Tell us in the comments section. Everybody,